The smell of food, I'll never taste. The smell's the worst part. Not the waiting, not the cold, not even the silence. It's the smell. Hot food sitting inches from my hand, bleeding steam into the dark. I think it was pad thai, maybe lo mein, something with garlic, maybe shrimp. The plastic bag's starting to sweat. I've cracked the window just enough to keep from choking on it, but it doesn't help. The smell always finds you, especially when your stomach's empty. I told myself I'd eat after the last order. That was 4 deliveries ago. That lie gets quieter every time I say it. There's a half-eaten granola bar in the glove box I've been ignoring. It tastes like dust and guilt now. I think I bought it 2 weeks ago, back when I still believed I'd stop somewhere with real food, something warm, something cooked. But the tips were bad today. They've been bad all week, so I didn't stop. I just kept driving, the engine's off, the phone's glowing on the dash, waiting to ping again. I haven't had a chance to stretch my legs in 3 hours. My back hurts from the way I lean toward the screen like it's going to tell me something new. But it never does. It just tells me where to go, what to carry, who gets to eat tonight, and who doesn't. There's condensation on the windshield. I wiped it once, but it came back. It always comes back. I breathe too much, apparently. The air in here smells like fried chicken and styrofoam and the ghost of last night's burrito run. I've started to recognize the difference in orders just by how the heat wraps around the cabin. Thai food clings. Pizza fades fast. Indian rides heavy in the seats for hours. I remember once, I dropped off 6 bags to a penthouse suite. Woman answered the door in a silk robe, eyes on her phone the whole time. Didn't even look at me. Just waved me toward the granite counter. I placed the bags gently, quietly. All that food, all that space. She didn't tip. The app told me 10 seconds after I hit complete. 0. I sat in my car and watched her through the rear view. She poured wine like it didn't matter. She laughed at something on her screen. I opened my glove box and stared at that same granola bar. Didn't eat it, just stared. I don't think people realize how much it hurts to hand over food you can't afford. Not once or twice. Every day, every shift. Orders that cost more than I make in an hour. Meals I've never tasted. Desserts I've never touched. I've held bags that smelled like celebrations, like birthdays. Like someone who didn't cook tonight because they didn't have to. Then I go home to a fridge with condiments and tap water. Maybe eggs if the day went well. Usually not. Sometimes, when I'm tired enough, I imagine what it'd feel like to eat something before dropping it off. Just a fry, a bite, just to remember what warm food tastes like. But I never do. Not because I'm noble. Because I'm afraid of the guilt, and the rating, and the customer who might say something. I've seen people get deactivated for less. One bad review, and you're done. So I sit with the smell. I let it fill me up until it starts to make me sick. There was a night, maybe 3 months ago, where I got so hungry I parked outside a Taco Bell and just sat there watching people go in. Not for the food, just to see someone with money to spend. Couples, teenagers, and people who weren't counting quarters at the pump. I stayed for 45 minutes, didn't buy anything, couldn't, I just watched. And then I drove off when the phone buzzed. The thing about hunger is it makes time bend. You stop feeling minutes, you just feel absence, emptiness between orders, emptiness in your wallet, emptiness in your chest that feels a lot like shame, but heavier. I've driven past closed grocery stores at midnight and felt jealous of the food rotting inside. At least it had somewhere to go. At least someone paid for it. I used to eat between runs. Little things, a sandwich, a gas station slice, not anymore. Now I skip. It's not a decision. I just skip. I tell myself I'll eat when I get home, but I get home too tired to care. Sleep is cheaper. Hunger's familiar, and eating means stopping, and stopping feels dangerous. I don't even think about meals like I used to. Now it's more like calories. Can I get through one more hour on this? Is this coffee enough to make it to 10? If I don't eat until tomorrow, can I stack one more delivery? That's how I think now, not in recipes, in survival math. There's still food in the car, still steaming, still talking to me. I've started to hate the smell of other people's dinner, not because it makes me hungry, but because it reminds me I don't belong in the world I'm serving. I'm not part of it. I'm the shadow that brings it to their door. Sometimes they say, "Thank you." Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they open the door mid-argument. Sometimes they don't open at all. Just instructions in the app. Leave at door. Don't knock. Which is fine. I'm used to not being noticed. But tonight, it's worse for some reason. Maybe because it's cold. Maybe because the food smells sweeter than usual. Maybe because I haven't eaten since Tuesday, and I don't remember what day it is now. I don't know how long I've been parked here. The app hasn't buzzed. I'm not checking. I'm just sitting, watching my breath fog the windshield, listening to the food cool down beside me. It's strange, delivering comfort to strangers while starving in your own skin. Carrying joy in plastic bags while your own body is running on fumes and caffeine. Being the last invisible step between indulgence and silence. Anyway, I think the noodles are getting cold. I owe too much to sleep. It usually starts around 2 in the morning. That's when the silence shifts. When the streets are so empty, you start to hear the thoughts you've been drowning all day. The roads are cleaner at that hour, vacuumed of people, lit by sad yellow lamps. I park in the corner of a gas station lot just far enough from the pump to avoid the glare and let the engine idle for heat. My hands stay in my lap. I don't touch the glove compartment, not yet. That's where I keep them, the envelopes, stacked like a folded grave. No one sends personal letters anymore, just debt reminders in clean fonts, threatening consequences in polite language. We've noticed a delay in your payment. Your minimum is now past due. Final notice before escalation. I haven't opened the last 5. I know what they say. They all say the same thing. You failed. I tell myself I'll catch up next month. Every month. Like some kind of bedtime story I keep telling the part of me that still believes I might come back from this. But I won't. And I know it. That's the part that makes my stomach clench at night. Not the debt itself, but the knowing. The certainty that I've already lost and I'm just moving things around so it doesn't look as bad. I used to make lists. I used to try budgeting. Had a little notebook where I'd write down every expense, every tip, every tank of gas. But then the math stopped making sense. The numbers wouldn't stretch. So I stopped writing them down. Now I just float in it. No plan. Just reactions. Swipe when I have to, decline when I can't. Pray the overdraft fee doesn't hit before my next payout. I have 4 credit cards. 2 are maxed. 1 got closed last winter. The last one I treat like a defibrillator, only for emergencies. Problem is, everything feels like an emergency now. Gas is an emergency. Groceries are an emergency. Even a cup of gas station coffee starts to feel like pulling a fire alarm you can't put back. Sometimes I check my balance just to feel the adrenaline, like I'm daring it to tell me something new, but it never does. Just the same red numbers. Negative balances. Pending charges. The quiet judgment of a machine that only sees you as what you owe. I once borrowed from one of those apps that advances you money. Instant transfer. Zero dignity. It was $100. I paid back $140. They call it a service fee. I call it a bruise. They say you can opt out, but when your fridge hums empty and your gas tank sighs low, you click accept without thinking. And then you click it again the next week, and again, until the 100 you borrowed has cost you your whole next month. It builds so slowly you almost don't notice, like a leak under the floorboards. One day you wake up and realize you owe more than you make. That working just means delaying collapse. that everything you earn is already claimed by something else. The car, the phone bill, the gas, the subscriptions you forgot to cancel, the loan you wish you never opened, the promise you made to yourself to buy groceries this week. I keep a shoebox under the passenger seat, filled with receipts I haven't thrown away. Gas, mostly. Some oil changes. A tire I had to replace last spring. I don't know why I keep them. Maybe I think it proves I tried, that I didn't just blow the money, that I didn't waste it, that I spent it on survival, that I was, at some point, responsible. But responsible doesn't mean anything when the numbers don't add up. When a check engine light means $1,000 repair and you don't even have 100. When payday just means resetting the countdown to the next crisis. The worst part is how normal it becomes. How you start to live with it like it's part of your body. You start speaking its language. I'll pay the minimum. I'll split this over 2 cards, that I'll skip the insurance this month. You learn how to dodge, how to negotiate with late fees, how to cry in your head without showing it in your face when a payment bounces at the register. There's a kind of quiet shame that comes with owing. It clings to you, makes you shrink, makes you say no to dinner invites, ignore calls from unknown numbers, delay the dentist, the haircut, the oil change, anything that isn't immediately burning. You start to live on fire logic. If it's not flaming, it can wait until it can't. I don't sleep well, haven't for years. Not because I'm working late, but because debt doesn't go to bed when you do. It paces, it taps your shoulder, it whispers through phone alerts at 3 a.m. I've woken up more than once to a "your payment has failed" email, sat there in the dark, phone glowing, heart thumping, like I got caught stealing from myself. Insomnia makes you weird, makes you start counting the seconds between app notifications, makes you refresh your banking app like it's going to apologize, makes you think about what parts of your life you could sell. Laptop, guitar, blood. I've looked into plasma centers, never gone through with it. Something about trading your body for groceries just feels like crossing a line I don't know if I could come back from. The car's quiet now, engine off, just the tick of cooling metal and the low groan of something in the suspension. I should fix that, but I won't. Not yet. Not until it breaks all the way. That's how I treat everything now. Wait for it to break, then decide how far I can stretch the damage. I know people who've taken out payday loans just to pay off other payday loans. I know drivers sleeping in their cars while paying interest on a mattress they no longer own. I know what it feels like to wonder if the app will send enough orders to cover your minimums today, or if you'll have to float another lie into next week. Some nights when the world's asleep and I'm still out here floating from lot to lot, I think about what it would feel like to not owe anyone, not owe anything. What would that silence sound like? Could I even hear it anymore? I open the glove box, look at the envelopes, think about lighting them on fire just to watch something end. But I don't. I close it again. I always do. Debt is patient. It waits. It knows where I live. It knows I'll come back tomorrow, with gas I can't afford, with time I can't spare, with hope I shouldn't still have, but somehow do. I owe too much to sleep. So I stay awake, and I keep driving, because that's the only thing I can afford to do. The app says I'm active. I don't feel alive. The app says I've been online for 9 hours. I don't remember most of it. I know I drove. I know I picked things up and dropped them off. I know I waited outside restaurants and parking lots behind apartment gates that didn't open the first time I called. I know I walked stairs. I know I smiled. I know I said, "Enjoy." But I don't remember my own voice. I think it's still out there somewhere, floating between drop-offs. There are days I don't speak to a single person, not really, just instructions. Leave it at the door. Text when you arrive. No need to knock. The only voice I hear is the one inside the app. Not even a voice, really. Just the vibration, the glow, the quiet ping that tells me to move. The orders come like breathing now. In, out, accept, drive, tap, wait, deliver, complete. It doesn't feel like a job anymore. It feels like the air I breathe decided to charge rent. Sometimes I forget where I'm going mid-route. I've taken the same turns so many times they don't mean anything anymore. The city's a blur of repeated directions. Every street is another version of the last. Every restaurant smells the same. I pass a gas station and can't remember if I already filled up or just thought about it. I glance at the time and realize it's dark again. I don't remember seeing the sun go down. I used to have a playlist, used to play music to stay awake, to keep my brain company. But now the silence feels closer. I let the engine hum and the tires hum and the phone hum. That's enough. That's all I can handle most nights. One more sound and I might disappear. I think I'm starting to lose track of myself. I don't mean in a dramatic way. I just forget things. I forget what I said to the last customer. I forget if I already ate today. I forget what day it is until I check my banking app and see which deposit hit. That's how I know it's Tuesday or Friday. Not because of anything I lived, but because of the number on the screen. I used to measure time by weekends. Now I measure it by the distance between tips, between fill-ups, between when my phone buzzed last and when it might buzz again. Every pause between orders feels like a test, like if I don't keep moving, the whole thing will come apart. I used to want things, nothing big, just stability, a decent mattress, a car that didn't make a sound when I turned the wheel, a night off that didn't make me anxious, a fridge with options, not even fancy options, just enough that I didn't have to think so hard about dinner. Now I just want silence that doesn't feel like failure. I scroll the app sometimes just to make sure it didn't forget me. I tap between screens, earnings, hotspots, schedule, as if there's something new to discover, but there never is. Just numbers, red, green, pending, always just a little short. I refresh like it's a nervous tick. I do it even when I know there's nothing waiting. There's a kind of stillness that doesn't feel peaceful, the kind that wraps around you when the engine's off and the phone's quiet, and you realize the only thing keeping you tethered to this world is the hope that someone, somewhere, is about to get hungry. That's the only thing that makes you matter, that someone wants a burger, a burrito, a bubble tea, and that you're the one who gets to bring it to them. I don't even eat like a person anymore. I graze. I grab gas station snacks and eat them with one hand on the wheel. I drink warm water from old bottles. I finish cold fries someone canceled because I couldn't bring myself to throw them out. Meals aren't breaks, they're background noise. Something to chew while I wait for the next ping. I tried taking a day off once. Thought maybe if I just rested, I'd feel more human. But I spent the whole day checking my phone, watching the bonuses roll in, wondering how much I was losing by standing still. I lasted 3 hours. Then I grabbed my keys and told myself I'd just do one run. Just a quick one. I worked 8 hours. It's not even about the money anymore. It's about motion, about not stopping. Because stopping means thinking, and thinking means feeling. And feeling, I don't think I have the capacity for that right now. Sometimes I see people, real people, laughing in restaurant patios, shopping with families, walking dogs, like the world is still intact. I watch them from the car window. I wonder what it's like to sit down without watching the clock, to order food and not worry if there's enough for gas later, to talk about something that isn't work or money or how tired they are. I used to talk. I used to text friends. Now my phone is only for orders and low balance alerts. I don't respond to messages anymore. Not because I don't care, because I don't have the language anymore. I've been living in commands and countdowns for so long that conversation feels like a foreign skill. I'm losing fluency in my own life. The app says I'm active, but I don't feel alive. I feel like a profile, a set of stats, acceptance rate, on-time rate, customer rating, a number floating in someone else's algorithm. I don't remember the last time someone used my name. The app doesn't need it. The customers don't use it. Sometimes I forget it myself. Even when I sleep, I dream in navigation, routes and red zones and pickup windows. I wake up more tired than I was before. I check the app before I brush my teeth. I check it after I eat. I check it before bed. And sometimes in the middle of the night. Not because I think something changed, because I need to feel like I exist somewhere. I used to think this was temporary, just a phase, just until I saved enough, just until I figured it out. But I've been saying just until for 3 years now. The numbers changed, the apps updated, my body aged, but the story stayed the same. I don't remember what I used to dream about. I think there was a plan once, a real one, maybe a small business, maybe moving somewhere with trees. I don't know. That part of me got overwritten, replaced by earnings goals and fuel rewards. Now I dream about meeting my minimum, about not having to cancel a shift because of car trouble, about one day where I don't feel behind before I even start. The world passes by while I'm stopped at red lights, while I sit in drive-through lines, while I wait for a $5 payout. I'm not part of it. I'm just near it, watching it from the edge. Like a ghost that still wears a seatbelt. I don't know what day it is. I just know I'm online. I'm always online. And maybe that's the part that scares me, that I don't remember what it feels like to be anything else. The debt has my name, but the system signed it. I used to think I was just bad at this, that everyone else had it figured out and I was the one too slow, too soft, too scattered. I blame myself for the debt, for the exhaustion, for the way every month felt like crawling up a hill made of wet bills and slipping hours. I told myself I wasn't budgeting hard enough, wasn't working long enough, wasn't optimizing the way others were. I thought maybe I just wasn't built for the hustle, but now I don't think that's it. Not anymore. I don't think I'm broken. I think I was handed something already cracked. The shift happened slow, not a moment, more like erosion, a bruise that started small, somewhere under the skin, and spread with time until I could feel it every time I sat down, every time I logged in. It's not just that I'm tired, it's that I finally understand why. And it makes the tired feel permanent. They told us we were free. That's the word they used, over and over. Free to choose our hours, free to be our own boss, free to work when we want it. But freedom doesn't send you push notifications at 6 a.m. with gold zone alerts. Freedom doesn't withhold your bonuses because you decline too many no-tip orders. Freedom doesn't punish you with silence when you take a break. I started noticing it when the quests began. Do 10 deliveries, get an extra 20. Complete 40 this week, get an extra 50. I used to chase them like lifelines, thinking if I just finished this batch I'd be okay. But then the next one would appear, a little higher, a little longer, a little more almost, and I'd chase that too. And again, until I realized the bonus wasn't a reward, it was a leash. It's the way they design it. Make you think you're choosing, but really, you're just reacting, responding to flashing red zones, accepting orders out of fear you'll get benched if you decline too many, pacing your week around the payout schedule, mapping your body to a grid of earnings potential and gas prices. You start to wonder if you're working the app or if the app is working you. The language is always so clean. Opportunities, incentives. You're almost there, but there's no there, just another rung, another climb, another goal that shifts the second you reach it. I used to think I was climbing a ladder. Now I see it's a treadmill. Same motion, no arrival. I remember when I hit 100 deliveries, the app sent me a little confetti screen that said, "Great job," in bold letters like it knew me. I stared at it for a second, then swiped it away. I think I was parked outside of Popeyes, waiting in a line of 12 cars, burning gas for a $3 payout. The celebration felt like a joke I wasn't in on. There's something about realizing you're replaceable that makes your body heavier. The app doesn't care if I log off. It just finds someone else. Someone newer. Someone with a better acceptance rate. Someone who hasn't figured it out yet. That's the part that hurts more than the miles. That this whole time, I thought I was earning, but I was just delaying collapse. I started noticing the words people use when they talk about this work. Side hustle, gig, extra income, like it's a fun little game, like people aren't living out of their cars to keep the orders moving. Like some of us didn't choose this. We just didn't have another option that let us stay housed, stay fed, stay breathing. I don't think they see what it's like on this side, to check your earnings and realize half of it is already gone. To gas, to tires, to repairs, to interest. To know your real wage is something no one wants to admit. To do the math and still choose to keep going because the only thing worse than this is nothing. I used to get mad when I saw people decline orders with low tips, thought they were being picky. Then I got my first stacked delivery, 2 orders, 1 payout, 1 tip, drove 20 miles to drop off the second one, and realized the entire profit had been soaked up in gas. The customer smiled and said thanks. The app gave me a thumbs up. I cried in my car that night, not loudly, just a quiet leak behind the eyes that wouldn't stop. You start to notice patterns when you've been out here long enough. The way the bonus zones disappear right when you arrive. The way the good offers slow down after you hit a milestone. The way the algorithm learns your habits then uses them against you. We noticed you've been online for a while. Need a break? It's not care, it's control. They know the burnout rate, they know the numbers. They're counting on you not noticing. But I noticed. I just didn't know what to do with it. Not until now. It's strange to realize the trap was never hidden. It was just dressed in polite language, in smiling ads and phrases like, drive your way. But it was always extraction, always pressure, always a system that gives you just enough to keep you quiet, but never enough to let you breathe. The debt has my name on it, the bills, the cards, the missed payments, but the design, that's theirs. That's the part I didn't see for too long. I thought if I just worked harder, I'd dig out. But this isn't a hole you climb out of. It's a pit with a spotlight that moves when you move. The more you try, the more it asks, until all you have left is motion. There's a kind of grief in recognizing this. Not rage, not protest, just grief. For the time I won't get back. For the versions of myself I wore down trying to win a game that was never meant to be won. For the hope I kept feeding into a system that only ever wanted my labor, not my life. I don't know what comes next, but I know what this is now. I know that the problem wasn't laziness, or bad luck, or me. It was the structure, the frame, the lie disguised as a ladder. And now that I see it, I can't unsee it. I don't even want to, but I still have to drive, because clarity doesn't pay the bills. Recognition doesn't cover rent. And even if the system signed the debt, they're still asking me to carry it. So I do, quietly, numbly. And maybe that's the most painful part of all. I can't afford to stop. I can't afford to breathe. The cup holder still smells like old coffee, the kind that's been microwaved too many times in a plastic cup with no lid. There's a napkin stuffed into it now, soaked brown and crusted around the edges. I meant to throw it out yesterday, or maybe last week. I can't remember. Time's been melting together lately. Orders, shifts, nights, gas pumps, red lights, app dings. I only notice the difference when the bank posts my deposit. That's how I count the days now. Not in sunrises, in earnings. The dashboard light has been on for 3 weeks, maybe 4. I keep telling myself I'll get it checked when the tips are better, but they're not. Not anymore. Maybe they never were. I just used to believe they could be. Now I only believe in what's already missing, in the noise the car makes when I turn too sharp, in the way my breath fogs the window before I even pull out of the lot, in the fact that even with more hours, I somehow keep making less. There's a crack in the windshield, small, but spreading. I watch it grow every night while I'm waiting. It curls like a vein across the glass, slow and certain. It reminds me of me, still holding together technically, but not for long. I drive more than I ever have. I work longer shifts. I skip breaks. I chase bonuses like they mean something, but the numbers don't change, or they change in the wrong direction. I put in 10 hours and get back what used to take 5. I do more and end up with less. And still, I keep doing it. Not because I'm strong, because I don't know what else to do. I can't afford to stop. That's the truth I never say out loud, because stopping feels like admitting it's over, that the last few years weren't a phase, that this is just what it is now. Debt like fog, food as fuel, sleep in pieces, body held together by caffeine and willpower, car running on fumes and prayers. There's no pivot coming, no magic shift, just more of this. More blinking lights on the app, more walking upstairs with someone else's dinner, more waiting in my car, engine off, heat on, pretending I'm not freezing. Sometimes I park in empty lots just to breathe, not to rest, not to reflect, just to exist without moving for a minute. But even that feels expensive. Every minute I sit still is another dollar I'm not making, and every dollar I don't make is another hole I have to climb out of tomorrow. So I keep moving, not toward anything, just away from stopping. There are days when I forget my own voice, when I catch myself saying the same 3 phrases over and over. Thanks. Have a good night. Enjoy. And nothing else. It's like my mouth only opens for tips now. The rest of me stays quiet, stays buried. I miss the version of myself that used to dream, not big dreams, just small ones. A weekend off, a night out, groceries that weren't just survival kits, sleep that didn't feel like a time theft. I don't have dreams anymore. I have calculations. How many miles to the next bonus? How many dollars I need by Friday? How long I can ignore the crack in the windshield before it shatters? There's a gas station I go to every night, the same one. 3rd pump from the end. The keypad sticks. The screen flickers, but the attendant doesn't ask questions when I only put in 20 and sit in the car another 10 minutes before driving off. I think he knows. I think he sees people like me all night, half alive, half hoping. I keep telling myself this is temporary, that I'm just in a rough patch. But I've been saying that for 2 years now. It doesn't feel like a patch anymore. It feels like a pattern, like a loop I can't cut through, like a tide that pulls no matter how hard I swim. I try not to think about what I've given up, because it starts to pile up too fast. Time, health, friendships, birthdays, dinners I missed, conversations I didn't have energy for. I tell people I'm busy. They stop asking after a while. I can't blame them. It's hard to care about someone who always feels like they're halfway somewhere else. And I am. I'm always halfway, somewhere, always in motion, never arriving, never landing, just driving, just delivering, just making it to the next thing. The next dollar, the next shift, the next nothing. Sometimes the app says, "You've been online for a while. Consider taking a break." I laugh when I see that. A break, like that's something I can afford, like that's something that would make a difference. I've taken breaks, came back hungrier, broker, more behind. Breaks aren't breaks when the clock keeps ticking, when the rent keeps coming, when the debt keeps breathing down your neck. I've started to hate silence, not because it's loud, but because it reminds me of everything I'm trying not to feel. The fear, the ache, the knowing. Silence is when the questions crawl in. How much longer can I do this? What if something happens to the car? Well, what if I get sick? What if the app stops sending orders? What if I just stop? That's the one I can't look at too closely because I know what it means. I know that if I stop, everything falls. The illusion breaks, the tightrope snaps, and there's nothing waiting beneath. I don't even know if I want more. I just want enough. Enough to breathe without guilt. Enough to rest without falling behind. Enough to stop chasing the same unpaid promise every night. But enough never comes. It stays just ahead, like a mirage, like a joke I don't laugh at anymore. So I keep driving, keep checking the app, keep telling myself it'll be better next week, keep lying in small ways just to keep going. I don't feel angry. I don't even feel sad. I feel used up, like a battery that doesn't hold charge anymore, like something functional but fading, still working but not well. I used to say, just one more month. Then it became, just until I catch up. Now it's not even that. Now it's just, keep going. No reason, no timeline. Just don't stop, because stopping costs more than I have left. I think the hardest part is knowing no one's watching, that I could disappear and the app would just assign my next order to someone else. No alert, no message, just replace and move on. That's what this job teaches you eventually, not how to earn, how to disappear quietly. I haven't been home yet tonight. I've been online since noon. My legs ache, my eyes sting. The dashboard is glowing again. Same warning, same silence. The app says I'm active. I guess I am. Anyway, the phone just buzzed again.